Today we are going to start Pearson Edexcel International GCSE Biology Marathon over there. First of all, I will say welcome to your ultimate Edexcel IGCSE Biology Revision Marathon over there. Kindly subscribe my channel so that you can find most examination supported videos related to past papers and full book revision of the courses over there. Let's start for biology. It is there are, as if we observe biology over there are 5 main sections of the specification for each. There are 5 main sections of biology available over there according to its syllabus of International GCSE Pearson Edexcel over there. And I will say here that for each we will hit the key concepts, highlight common pitfalls, and point out the essential practicals also for all the 5 main sections over there. And key advice before we start is command the words are key, that know the difference between the state, like one word or sentences described over there, and describe says what you see, or explain, give a reason why, and suggest apply your knowledge to a new situation over there. In biology is interconnected. Respiration is not just a topic. It is needed to nerve impulses, muscle contraction, and absorption of food over there. And I will say here, practice the past papers like there is non-negotiable, because if past paper practice is not done, book syllabus is not going to support you for your final exams. You will have must to go for past papers practice of at least 3 years, so that if you are prepared fully with your syllabus, you are saying that you are scoring up to 7 to 9 like that is not possible without going with past paper practice over there. So it is the best way to apply your knowledge according to the coming exam over there if you are fully prepared according to your main syllabus. Okay, I am going to the first section. Then the first section is related to characteristics of living organisms. For this main section, I will say the basic characteristics are abbreviated with the name of Mrs. John. If I take Mrs., M is for movement, R is for respiration, S is for sensitivity, G for growth, E for excretion, R for reproduction, N for nutrition. These are all the characteristics of living organisms over there. And if we talk one by one, that the movement of the whole organism or a part in case of plants is named as movement over there. In case of respiration, if I talk about it, respiration means chemical reactions release energy from nutrients over there, like glucose C6H12O6 is going to combine with oxygen to produce carbon dioxide, to produce water, to produce energy in the form of ATP over there. This process is called respiration. Don't intermix this respiration process with breathing process over there. After that, there is a sensitivity, that is basically the ability to detect and respond in the changes environment over there. Response according to sensitivity, like it is hot, cold, or anything over there. After that, the growth is a permanent increase in the size of an organism, size by dry mass, increase in mass, increase in dry mass of an organism according to its body over there is named as its growth over there. After that, there is a excretion. Excretion means, I will say here, excretion is directly related to the main factors which I will say should be being taken according to that can be the release of carbon dioxide, that can be releases of nitrogenous products like urea, etc. from their body, that is included. And for carbon dioxide removal, lungs are going to help over there from breathing purpose over there. And urea from the protein breakdown is being helped with the help of kidney over there. And when I talk about reproduction, then reproduction is the process of producing new offspring to prevent the species from becoming extinct over there. Reproducing new organisms using sexual or asexual reproduction over there so that species is not become extinct over there, should not be vanished away from the universe over there. And in the last, there is a nutrition like taking in material for energy, growth, and development in the form of the last one, nutrition, which I am saying over here is related to like carbohydrates to be taken into the body, carbohydrates taking the proteins to inside body, taking the fats over body. These are all required. Carbohydrates is required for energy. Proteins is required for making the new materials in the body for the growth required. Fats is also as a enriched energy availability over there. So I will say here that a very common question to define excretion, distinguish and distinguish it from egestion, like the removal of undigested food from the anus. This is not the waste product of metabolism. So remember that egestion and excretion are not the same things over there. Egestion is undigested food, and excretion is waste material of any chemical reaction to the removal over there. This is just like an exam tip. If he is asking to you, then you should go for the differentiation of egestion and excretion to be taken into account over there. There are variety of living organisms. You need to know the main features of these five kingdoms over there. Number one is kingdom Animalia. Animalia is the kingdom in which I will say that multicellular, no cell wall, no chlorophyll, heterotrophic. Heterotrophic means which are not able to produce their own food and consume other organisms, and they have strong nervous coordination over there is called Animalia kingdom. After that, I will have to move the second kingdom that is called plants. Plants are autotrophs basically and multicellular. They have cellulose cell walls, contains chlorophyll for photosynthesis, and they are autotrophic feeders, make their own food over there. At number three, I will talk about fungi. Fungi is basically can be unicellular in the form of yeast and also used for beverages preparation over there, and multicellular like mushrooms. And they also have cell wall, but their plant cell walls was made of cellulose. And in case of fungi, the cell wall is made up of chitin. Both are the carbohydrates, okay, means we can say polysaccharides of carbohydrates over there. And these are not autotrophs. Even though they have the cell wall, fungi are not autotrophs. They are saprotrophs, means they get their food from the dead plants and animals by decomposition over there of those substances. They secrete the enzymes on the food for food onto the dead plants and animals over there, and the digested products are their parts. They don't have chlorophyll. They store the food as glycogen over there. After that, I will say there is the number four, which I'm saying the unicellular protoctistis. Protoctistics. Protoctistics is a diverse kingdom, mostly unicellular. And we will say that, for example, amoeba looks like an animal cell over there, and there is also chlorella that has chloroplast like a plant cell. Plasmodium is a protist that causes malaria over there. So keep in mind such type of examples if you are going for the exams over there. After that, number five, the last kingdom, which is related to bacteria, or we can also name this as the kingdom of Monera. And these are all the other four first classes are eukaryotes, Like they have well-defined nucleus, well-defined double layer bound covered cells in all of these organisms over there. But bacteria is prokaryote. Prokaryote means they don't have well-defined nucleus in their cell over there. They have the cell wall which is made up of peptidoglycan over there. And in case of peptidoglycan, I can also say that some of photosynthesize and most feed on other organisms can be classified by shape. Spherical cocci, rod-shaped bacilli, and spirilla are the types of bacteria according to their shapes over there. And in the last, even though this is not a kingdom, that is called viruses. That is not included in some cases into the organisms, but in some cases they have the characteristics which are related to the living organisms. Not living organisms, these are, they don't fulfill the Mrs. Jones rule over there. They just have the protein codes and genetic material. They have only protein code and genetic material, not like DNA. They have the material like DNA material they have, and RNA material sometimes they have, but they are not having the other characteristics. They are parasitic, means they get their food from their host and give diseases in response over there. And HIV causes AIDS. HIV is a virus which causes the AIDS over there. Influenza virus causes the flu over there. Influenza virus causes the flu over there. And tobacco mosaic virus affects the plants over there. Tobacco mosaic virus is going to affect the plants over there. These were the little bit examples. And be ready to suggest the kingdom of an unknown organism from the description or image. Look the keyword like cell wall, chlorophyll, unicellular, then you can name easily from the identification of the picture which you will be given in your exam over there. After that, there is part 2 section, which means section number 2 over there. Now I have to move over there. That is related to your structure and functions of living organisms over there. That is section 2 now. Section number 2 there. Now I am moving towards that, in which I will say structure and functions. Structure and functions in living organisms. Over there. So section number 2 is basically, this is the biggest section. We will break it down into subtopics like that. First of all, I will say here that number 1, I am taking here cell structures. Cell structures. I'm just explaining and dictating, not writing too much. And first of all, I will say what is animal cell. Animal cell is a animal cell which has no cell wall, have the nucleus, have the cytoplasm, have the cell membrane, have the mitochondria and ribosomes over there. After that, the other one is plant cell, which is having all the above, like nucleus, cytoplasm, cell membrane, mitochondria, ribosomes, but it has cell wall made up of cellulose for plant cell over there. It is having the chloroplast, like having chlorophyll for photosynthesis, have permanent vacuole cells have for the support of turgor pressure over there. Turgor pressure is being supported by cell sap of the larger vacuole, which is much more stable. If I talk the difference between animal and plant cell, first of all, plant cell have cell wall, animal have no cell wall. And if I talk chloroplast, chloroplast is present in plant cell, but it is not present in animal cell over there. Vacuole, I will say here, in place of vacuole, I will say vacuole is large plus permanent. In case of plant cell, permanent. And in case of animal cells, means small and many, but not permanent, because they don't, not permanent. Vacuoles are present in case of animal cells over there. And shape is, in case of animal cells, shape is irregular shape over there. And in case of plant cell, they have regular due to cell wall over there. They have a regular shape because of cell wall over there. So these were the structures. After that, now I am going towards the functions of organelles one by one over there. I will just dictate. I'm not writing over there. First of all is the nucleus. Nucleus is the main organelle that contains the genetic material that controls the cell's activity. Number two is cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is basically, I can say, where most chemical reactions are going to happen in case of metabolism, catabolism, and anabolism over there. In case of number three, I will say cell membrane, which is made up of protein, fats, and carbohydrates, and it is membrane. It is selectively permeable and it controls the movement of substances in and out, showing it is partially permeable over there. After that, number four is mitochondria. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell over there, and it provides the strength and it provides the space where aerobic respiration is going to happen, and it is going to do the process of releasing energy over there. At number five, I will say there is ribosomes over there. Ribosomes are the organelles which are attached with nucleus or which are attached with endoplasmic reticulum, making it rough endoplasmic reticulum, where they are providers the services where protein synthesis is going to happen over there. After that, I will say there are chloroplasts, where photosynthesis occurs over there. Chloroplast. And chloroplast have the chlorophyll over there, where photosynthesis is going to happen. And there is a cell wall, which is present and which provides the support for the plants and fully permeable. It is not going to stop any material to keep check and balance over there. After the cell organelles, I will say I will have to move towards the basic biological molecules over there. Biological molecules. Biological molecules, the basic biological molecule is going towards carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, and it is made up of sugars. It provides energy. Examples is being taken in case of starch for plants and glycogen for animals to be storing glucose or storing the carbohydrates into the body, and animals store glycogen in the liver over there. And carbohydrates, when they are smaller in number of carbon atoms, then they are sweet in taste. But when as the number of carbon atoms is going to increase to make the polysaccharides like starch and glycogen and also cellulose used for making the cell wall over there are tasteless over there. Then I will say the second class is related to proteins, which are made up of amino acids. There are basically 20 types of amino acids, which we say 10 are essential and 10 are non-essential. Non-essential amino acids are those which we don't have to need in the form of food over there. Our body synthesized by itself, and they are used for growth. Proteins are used for growth. Proteins can be used for repair of any destruction happened in our body, and also provide the enzyme activity in the form of catalyst for biological chemical reactions. These are the responsibilities of proteins. They are having carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and hydrogen mainly into their compounds over there. After that, there are lipids. Lipids are basically made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen only. Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen only, but the concentration of oxygen is much larger as compared to, I will say, carbohydrate. They are made up of fatty acids and glycerols, and they are used for energy storage. Energy storage. They are used for insulation purposes. and they are used to be producing a new cell membrane structures over there. Cell membrane, they are going to support their over for the production of lipids over there. At number 4, I will say the water, H2O. Water is an essential as solvent for chemical reactions and for transport purposes. So I will say it is having to behave as solvent and providing the medium for transport over materials. Transport of materials. Even red blood cells, white blood cells are all dissolved in water for the transport purposes over there. And at number 5, I will say the last one I am saying that is enzymes. Enzymes are basically biological catalysts which speed up the reaction without being itself being used over there. They are made up of proteins. They are specific in temperature and pH over there. They have optimum pH, optimum temperature over there. If we increase the temperature, they start to denature. Never say enzymes going to die over there. And how enzyme is going to work, basically lock and key hypothesis, it should be taken that the lock and key model is much going to support that there are active site on the surfaces of the enzymes where the substrate, the molecule of enzymes to works on, fits on the enzyme's active site and converted into product over there. And temperature and pH for enzymes have the optimum pH temperature, really 37 degree centigrade temperature optimum is 37 degrees centigrade for the normal human body, and pH like pepsin in stomach works at pH of 2 pH for pepsin to work in the stomach for the digestion of food over there. It is if it is too hard, the enzymes denature and active sites changes the shapes and substrate no longer fits and the reaction stops over there. After that, I will have to move towards the movement of substances to be taken over there. Movement of substances. Movement of substances, the basic key concept is related to diffusion. After that, I will say osmosis and active transport. Over there, in case of diffusion, I will say that the net movement of particles from a region of low concentration down the concentration gradient, and it is passive. No energy is needed. No energy is needed for its transfer. And I will say here that like gas exchange in the lungs is not required in any case of energy over there. So the movement of molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration is called diffusion over there. In case of movement means, I will say the net movement of water molecules from a region of high water potential to lower potential, where we can say like dilute solution to a region of low concentration, where I am saying the low water potential, that is the concentrated solution through a partially permeable membrane. It is very crucial for the plant support over there. And after that, there is active transport in the last over there, where I can say energy is required and the movement of substances from low concentration to high concentration over there with the help of ATP used over there. Like it is against the gradient, and this requires the energy from respiration, like glucose and oxygen is going to meet up producing carbon dioxide, water, and ATP over there. That ATP is required, and this requires energy from respiration, like absorption of minerals of ions in the plant roots over there. Here I will say that there is a practical also being taken, like osmosis in potatoes, and you will have done this by placing the potato chips in different sugar solutions, and they lose mass in concentrated solutions, and water leaves by osmosis and gain mass in a dilute solution of water. That is just like a simple experiment related to potato placed in concentrated or diluted solution over there. After that, there is the process that is related to digestive system related to animals over there. I will say human digestive system over there. Human digestive system. In case of human digestive system, we can say here that human digestive system is having the basic organs. Number one is mouth, which is used for mechanical digestion by using teeth, and chemical digestion by using amylase enzyme in saliva, breaks down the starch into maltose over there. That is done everything in the mouth over there. Number two, which I will take here, that is stomach. Over there, this is the digestive system parts, which churns the food and produces proteases enzyme, which converts proteases enzyme, I can say pepsin over there, which has the pH 2 over there to digest the proteins, had hydrochloric acids to kill bacteria, and provides the optimum pH for pepsin that was being taken as 2 pH over there. For number three, I will say here small intestine. Small intestine over there, where most of the digestion and absorption happens. This has two main parts over there, that is duodenum and ileum over there. There, small intestine, I'm saying it is having two main parts, duodenum, and B is ileum, ileum. So duodenum is the part of the small intestine. From liver, the bile juice is stored in gallbladder, neutralizes the stomach acidic and emulsifies the fats and increases the surface area. And pancreatic enzyme amylase is released here in the duodenum part of the small intestine, while the ileum, which I am saying the second one is, I will say it absorbs the digested food into the blood over there. It adapts with villi. Villi means thread-like structures which are available for increasing the surface area for absorption over there. And each villus has a thin epithelium, a rich blood supply, and lacteal to absorb the fats over there. So remember that I have just dictated to you towards the little bit explanations related to duodenum and ileum over there. And in the last, I will say there is number four will be large intestine. This is the last part of digestive system, which absorbs waters and forms and stores the feces. And when reasonable quantity is collected over there, then it is excreted from the body by anus over there. After that, we will have to move towards the photosynthesis over there. Photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the production of food by using carbon dioxide and water over there. If I go for the word equation over there, then I will say carbon dioxide plus water is going to intermix in the form of presence of chlorophyll as a pigment, and you are taking here light energy is going to fall over them, and they are producing like glucose and oxygen over there. Glucose and oxygen is being produced in this process. So here remember that light intensity increases the rate of to a point like optimum point over there when the sunlight is rising over there in the morning. Then like 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. maximum light is reached in the summer over there. And if more light intensity is increasing, even though the rate of photosynthesis is going to decrease over there, and at top peak when temperature is much higher, is not going to be more favorable for we can say greater photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide concentration also increases the rate of reaction, and temperature affects the enzyme activity. Too high, like 45 degrees centigrade, enzymes denature. And for the absorption of light, remember that leaf gets a proper adaptations. Leaf gets proper adaptations, like they make their surface properly large over there, so that properly chlorophyll can broad large leaf surface area and thin short diffusion substances Chlorophyll absorbs light. Stomata for the gas exchange, and air spaces for gas diffusion are present over there for the leaf to get the proper adaptations for the process of photosynthesis over there. After that, there is the process of respiration and gas exchange to be taken into account. Respiration and gas exchange over there. In that case, I will say here that when we are going towards the process of releasing energy by using glucose, for all life processes, it occurs in mitochondria. I have already told you about the equation of respiration when Mrs. John concept I have explained over there. And lots of energy in the form of ATP will be released. And that is called aerobic respiration. Okay, with oxygen, when you are doing this process, then that is called aerobic respiration. When you are using oxygen properly to react with glucose, and you are getting with carbon dioxide and water and plus ATP in the form of energy adenosine triphosphate over there. And when you are taking in the absence of oxygen over there, then it is called anaerobic respiration. And in muscles, like when anaerobic respiration is going to happen in the absence of oxygen, when you are going to do very hard activity like exercise over there, what will happen? That the lactic acid plus little energy like glucose will be converted into lactic acid, which will be done because of oxygen debt over there, and it will be converted into lactic acid plus little energy will be released, which will be helpful for your difficult activities over there. And it causes the oxygen debt, which is repaired after the exercise by breathing heavily to oxidize the lactic acid, converted back into carbon dioxide and water. And in yeast fermentation, the glucose is converted into ethanol. I am talking about yeast fermentation over there. Ethanol plus carbon dioxide and plus little energy, and this is used for baking and brewing processes over there. That is called yeast fermentation over there. That is used for brewing purposes over there and baking purposes over there. And if we talk about the gaseous exchange, which was the gas exchange here I have mentioned over there, then first of all, the alveoli in the lungs, alveoli, the basic unit of this respiratory tract over there. I will say here, alveoli in the lungs are the site of gas exchange, and they are adapted with a massive surface area and thin surfaces and rich in blood supply over there. Mechanism of breathing should be taken in the form of inhalation and exhalation. Inhalation means taking in oxygen, and exhalation means taking out the carbon dioxide over there. Inhalation happens when intercostal muscles contract, ribs move up, out, and diaphragm contracts and flattens, and volume in the thorax increases and pressure decreases. So air rushes into our body. And in case of exhalation, intercostal muscles relax and ribs move down over there. Ribs move down, and the dome up, and volume in thorax decreases and pressure increases. So air is forced out over there. So this was related to your gaseous exchange and respiration topic over there, according to examination point of view over there. After that, I will have to go for transport of materials inside the plants and animals over there. In case of plants, we know there are basic two main structures, that is xylem bundles, vascular bundles in case of xylem, and phloem. Xylem is going to use for the transport of water and mineral ions from the root to leaves over there, root to leaves. And we can say it is flow upward only, and these are made up of dead cells. Remember that xylem is made up of dead cells over there. In case of phloem, I will say that it carries the dissolved sugars like sucrose from the leaves to the parts of the plants, and this is called translocation. Translocation over there. and that translocation is more made up of the cells when going to happen with the help of phloem. They are made up of living cells, and flow is both up and down can be taken in case of phloem. It can go up, it can go down, it can go only up from the root to leaves over there. After that, there is the process of transpiration. Transpiration over there. The transpiration is a process in which I can say the loss of water vapors from the leaves. It is the side effect of gas exchange, but creates a pull and transpiration stream that helps draw water up the xylem over there. And after that, I will have to go for transpiration is loss of water from water surfaces and leaf surfaces, loss of water there from the surface of leaf during the respiration process when gaseous exchange is happening and stomata is opening, water is losing over there. And transpiration also is being done for keeping the temperature of the plant down over there in hot summer over there. After that, I will have to go for human over there. Human transport system is basically related to blood over there. And I will say here a double system like blood passes through the heart twice for every complete circuit of the body. Heart blood goes to the lungs, goes to the heart, then to body to the heart to the lungs, then coming to heart and going to the body by the pumping of heart over there. Heart structures like it has if I talk about heart has basically two atria and two ventricle and two ventricles over there. Two atrium are atria and two ventricles are available over there. Right atrium, right ventricle, pulmonary artery, and lungs. This is the way for to get oxygen. Like we can say right atrium to right ventricle to lungs. This is the one circuit, and the other circuit is saying left atrium to left ventricle to all body, like aorta first, because the main artery where the blood is entering after heart and aorta, and then it is entering to body over there. After that, when we say that left atrium, right atrium is going towards this, then there are walls present which prevent the backflow of the blood over there. There are three main types of blood vessels named as arteries, veins, and capillaries over there. In that case, I can say arteries carry blood away from the heart. These are thick, muscular, elastic walls at high pressure, while the veins carry blood towards the heart. These are thinner walls, have the walls to stop backflow and have low pressure. On the other end, when I talk about capillaries, tiny vessels that connect arteries and veins. Walls are one cell thick for efficient diffusion of substances over there. I have explained one by one all to arteries, veins, and capillaries. If you are still confused, little bit take 15 seconds back and scroll it up. After that, blood components. If I talk about blood components, then there are red blood cells, there are white blood cells, there are platelets. And if I talk about one by one, red blood cells contains hemoglobin to carry out oxygen over there. And they have no nucleus, more spaces for hemoglobin over there. So no nucleus is present so that more space can be provided for hemoglobin over there. And after that, white blood cells are the cells that are part of immune system, and they provide the production of antibodies, and they engulf the pathogens over there. And the platelets, I will say these are the small fragments of the cells that help the blood to clot at a bound over there. In the last, I will say there is plasma also available over there. And plasma is the liquid part of the blood that carries everything like carbon dioxide, digestive food, urea, hormones. Everything is carried by the help of plasma over there. Then I will have to go for the coordination system, coordination and responses over there. Coordination and responses. Says over there. In case of coordination, I will say nervous system is present over there. That is central nervous system. I will say nervous system because that is peripheral nervous system is also available over there. Nervous system. Nervous system is basically a fast coordination technique over there, and it is electrical impulses which gets the response from stimulus to get the detection with the help of receptors. And this stimulus receptor, then sensory neuron over there. And after that, there is central nervous system, CNS, like brain over there. And that is a coordinator also. It is given towards the coordinator. And after that, I will say after coordinator, they will have to go for motor neurons. And at the end, they should go for effectors. And at the end, it should show the response. So starting from the stimulus, ended up with response very fast in the form of electrical signals is named as nervous system. There is also a reflex arc over there, in which I can say reflex arc is basically a rapid automatic involuntary response that bypasses the conscious brain and pulling your hand from a hard object, like it is involuntary action which is not in the control of the brain over there. After that, there is hormonal system over there that is present over there. That hormonal system, I will say that it is a slower coordination, that chemical messages are carried in the blood, and like insulin lowers the blood glucose, glucagon raise the blood glucose, adrenaline, fight or flight hormones are present in our body over there. After that, I will say that there is a process of homeostasis, maintenance up to a balanced limit over there. Homeostasis is basically, we will say, maintaining a constant internal environment. In case of blood glucose, controlled by insulin and glucagon from the pancreas. Both are released from pancreas, insulin and glucagon. And body temperature controlled by thermoregulatory center in the brain, in the thalamus or hypothalamus over there. Mechanism includes sweating, vasodilation when hot, and shivering or vasoconstriction when there is cold over there. So I said in case of homeostasis, I said that the blood glucose should be maintained up to a required level, and body temperature should be maintained near to its optimum temperature over there. After that, there is tropism in plants. Tropism in plants over there. If I talk about tropism in plants, then I will say that there is phototropism, there is geotropism, gravitropism over there. Photo and gravi. If I talk about photo, then the leaves are moving towards light, towards the sun. They are showing positive response towards that, and roots are going away. Then it is showing the negative response. So shoots grow towards the light, that is positive for photosynthesis over there. And gravitropism or geotropism, roots grow towards the gravity for water and minerals. Shoots grow away. So positive and negative responses of tropism can be taken into account for this purpose over there. After that, there is a phenomenon of reproduction. Reproduction can be sexual or asexual, and we will say asexual reproduction involves only one parent. Offsprings are genetically identical clones. And on the other end, I will say here that can be bacteria, that can be potato tubers, that can be strawberries runners over there. In case of sexual reproduction, involves the fusion of male and female gametes, leading to genetic variation over there. And if I talk about flowering plants over there, to show the structures over there. Then there is stamen. There is carpel. Stamen is male part of the plant, and it has the anther which produces the pollen. And it has a filament that is just like a supporting stick over there. And carpel is a female part of the plant which has stigma which catches the pollen and style ovary and contains the ovules over there. There is a process of pollination is going to happen, which is wind pollination, cross pollination over there, pollination. And this pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma, can be by insects or wind over there. After that, there is fertilization. Fertilization will happen inside the ovary over there, where I can say that pollen tube grows down the style like stigma style ovary. Male nucleus fuses with the female ovule, and the ovule becomes the seed, and ovary becomes the fruit over there. This was a little bit introduction related to reproduction in plants. When I will go for a human reproduction system over there, human reproduction system. System over there, then I will say that male gametes are called germs. They have tail for swimming and produced in the testes. Female gametes have eggs, large contains food over there and produced in ovaries. There is a menstrual cycle which is of 28 days controlled by hormones. FSH are estrogen and LH over there. FSH matures the egg in the ovary and stimulates the estrogen production, and estrogen repairs the uterus lining, inhibits FSH, stimulates LH production, and LH triggers the ovulation and like the release of egg over there. So a little bit human introduction which I have told you. For making the notes, you can take the video a little bit back and listen and note down with the key information over there. After that, there is inheritance. Inheritance is basically related to chromosomes. Chromosome over there, which I will say chromosome is basically a large, long DNA molecule containing many genes over there. That is called chromosome. And gene is a section of DNA that codes for specific protein. Gene that codes for a specific protein over there. And there is an allele, which we say allele is a different variant of the same gene. And allele for blue eyes, allele for brown eyes means a different variant of same gene over there is called allele. Alleles over there. And genotype is the genetic makeup of any allele over there, like brown, blue, brown, like that. These are the genotypes. And phenotype is the physical appearance, like brown eyes over there. This is called genotype. And phenotype is also available over there. That is called the physical appearance of any allele over there. And they can be, if both are identical, as I have written BB and BB, these are called homozygous. And if I take the central one, this one with heterozygous combination is available over there. So dominant allele is an allele that is always expressed if present, like capital B is present here, capital B is present here, and capital B is not present here. So this is dominant, this is dominant. So it will be shown every time over there. And recessive allele, that is only be expressed if two copies are present with the small b cases over there. And here I will say genetic crosses are also available, in which I will say use the Punnett square, like heterozygous brown-eyed men. I will say here genetic crosses, very important section of your exam over there. Genetic crosses. You will also always use the Punnett square method over there. point squares. Always use this like a heterozygous brown-eyed man and blue-eyed BB with the small letter is producing a woman and offspring is 50% brown and 50% blue can be produced over there. And if we go for sex determinations over there, then for male, the sex determination is XY, and for female, the sex determination is only related to XX over there. The sperm determines the sex of child over there. And reproduction and inheritance can also be taken over there with the help of cell division, with the help of mitosis and meiosis. This is the large process for growth, repair, and asexual reproduction for mitosis. I'm saying here cell cycle chapter, cell cycle chapter, and S1 phase, 0 phase, S0, G1, G0. After that, we will have to go for prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, karyokinesis, division of nucleus, cytokinesis, and in case of meiosis, all the steps are again being taken by meiosis 1 and meiosis 2 over there. So you will have to go for complete detail of related from your book over there. That will be much, much easier. Then there is a variation like difference between variation. For cell cycle chapter, I am saying that go towards your book and just read for one time for the different stages to be taken into account. So differences between individuals caused by genetic factors or inheritance and environmental factors due to diet and accident, the variation can happen. Natural selection for the mechanism of evolution, variation exists in population. Overproduction of offsprings leads to a struggle for existence, and individuals with the advantageous characteristics are more likely to survive and reproduce. These advantageous genes are passed to the next generations, and over time, the population becomes better adapted by showing the variations over there. And after that, I will have to move towards the ecology chapter over there, ecology and the environment over there. Ecology and environment over there. In case of ecology and environment, remember that you will have to know population. All the organisms of one species in a habitat is called population over there. Population, after that community. Community is basically all the populations of different species in a habitat. After that, there is ecosystem. Ecosystem is basically, I will say, the interaction of community with non-living abiotic parts of environment. There is a habitat. These are the all key terms of this chapter. The place where an organism lives over there is called its habitat. After that, there are food chains and food webs over there. Food chains and webs over there, where we can say that there are producers like primary consumers, herbivores, carnivores, consumers like carnivores, and tertiary consumers as carnivores are present over there. And after that, secondary and tertiary consumers are also available in case of carnivores. Herbivores are related to plants. Carnivores are related to eating other animals, and omnivores are related both eating plants and animals over there. After that, there is a pyramid of biomass should be being taken. And you will also have to remember for the cycles that is called carbon cycle and nitrogen cycle over there. Carbon cycle and nitrogen cycles, how carbon is being interlinked with how much carbon is recycled between the air, organisms, and the ground, and key processes like photosynthesis, respiration, feeding, combustion, and decomposition can be taken into account. And water cycles is also being having over the phenomenon in the form of clouds and body and production for the food over there. evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and runoff, and infiltration and transpiration being taken with the help of plants over there. Human impacts for deforestation, water pollution, air pollution, and conservation is being taken over there. After that, I will say there is at the end of this section of this biology completely being done, I will say that there is use of biological resources, use of biological resources over there can be taken into account, which I can say yield can be increased by using fertilizers to replace the mineral ions, and pesticides kill the pests. Fish farming is done. Microorganisms for food like yeast is used in bread and beer production. Bacteria, lactobacillus is used in yogurt production over there. Selective breeding, like choosing the organism with desirable characteristics over there. Genetic engineering is the genetic modification, like transferring a gene for a desirable characteristic from one organism to another, and to identify and do the cloning over there should be being taken as a complete revision. Just revise the last chapter and cell cycle chapter from your book. And for your basic exam techniques over there and mindset, I will say read the question very carefully, underline the key terms and command words, manage your time. Don't spend 10 minutes on 3-mark question over there. Show you're working in genetic crosses or calculations. You can get method marks even if the final answer is wrong. Use the correct terminology. Never say enzyme. You should say enzyme denatures, not to say enzyme dies over there. Be specific instead of it digests food. Say the proteases enzymes breaks down proteins into amino acids. Check your answer, especially at the end. You have learned an incredible amount of biology. You are prepared. Go into the exam with confidence and show the examiner what you know. Good luck. You can do this. Okay, this is was from my side a comprehensive revision guide based on the official specifications. So for absolute uncertainty, always cross the references with the official Pearson Edexcel syllabus of 4B1 specification of the document over there. Okay. Thank you so much for today video. Allah Hafiz. Best of luck for your exams one time again over there.